What's going on, everybody? Jeff here. Welcome back to the channel. AMC being dragged down very heavily Friday after a pretty nice rally at the beginning of the week due to sentiment from GameStop's Sell the News event. Now, I'll get into that in just a moment of exactly what I mean, but I also want to highlight in this video an article that was released by Seeking Alpha talking about earnings coming up. Now, Seeking Alpha over the last 18 months, most of their articles talking about AMC has followed the mainstream media narrative of bash the company and bash the investors that are backing AMC, but they've also released a few unbiased articles. Now, this article gives a very good perspective on the upcoming earnings that are going to be released. We're also going to talk about two tweets that Adam Aaron had sent out in a speculative, presumption on those tweets. But when it comes to earnings, already over the past week and a half, we've seen companies that have reported not just average earnings like Netflix and Tesla, and they're rallying. The reason being is because the last two quarters, investors demanded a lot, especially quarter four from 2021. You had to deliver amazing guidance, amazing numbers after such a long rally from the pullback in March of 2020. Quarter one was kind of expecting the same thing. They were looking, where's the market going to go? Is it going to head into a bear market? Do some of these larger companies see a little bit of a slowdown and a pullback and are going to shrink on guidance? And now you've seen companies like, all right, listen, we've already pulled back a good amount, okay? You've watched the price earning ratios come down. I think they still do have a little bit more to go. If you're just not going to upset us horribly, we're going to give you a rally. Now, it also does coincide with the entire macros happening inside the market right now ahead of FOMC and GDP going to be released. So we're going to highlight just a few things. And like I said, go read that article. It explains a lot of details. But let's get into what I was talking about with AMC and the Sell the News event. So you watch AMC rally intra-week from 14 on the 11th all the way up to $18, pull back a little bit on Thursday, and then Friday heavy shorting into it. Now take a look at it. The reason why I say GameStop Sell the News event is because obviously you look at these charts, they're very, very similar. They run off sentiment together. We know that, but it's very common, okay, for companies that announce a stock split. Initially, the stock will pump. Okay, over the next coming days, it'll kind of sell off. Eventually, they will announce when the date the split is going to take effect. And numerous times we've seen this with Tesla, Apple, Nvidia, okay, Google, Amazon. It will rally into the split. All right, it'll rally into the split the day the split takes effect. Shorts kind of pile on, and it's known as a Sell the News event. It's exactly what you're seeing here with GameStop, 31 all the way up to 40. It's a 33% jump. Sell the News event coming back. Now, I will highlight this when you look at the weekly chart. It does give a very different perspective, seeing that, okay, the weekly highs touched were 120 rather than 480. I still think, GameStop can attract a lot of, investors that just psychologically will feel a little bit better about buying a stock that is in the 30s rather than buying a stock that is in the 140s, 150s, or 160s. But so let's talk about this first before we get into that article. Adam Aaron tweeted, I keep getting asked when pounce. He said, know this, I always keep my word. I've said publicly a pounce would not happen before second quarter earnings are announced. Press release issued today. Earnings are going to be the fourth. Read between those lines. Okay, now I didn't really put anything into this. I didn't try to, dissect what he means, but I will highlight one thing. Here was another tweet, and this talks about their long-term debt. Okay, and he says, AMC announced today that we have taken another positive step along our recovery glide path. They're able to repay and retire $72.5 million of long-term debt for only $50 million, meaningful 31% discount. Now, some people, I did read some of the comments, some of the speculation that was going around talking about the $72.5 million, seeing AMC reach that high of $72. What does he mean by that? I will throw out just a very first thing that stuck to me was this 31%. When you go back to read between those two lines, is something going to happen before second quarter earnings are announced, which is going to be Thursday, August 4th? Could there potentially be something that is going to be announced on the 31st? Just a little bit of speculation. Have no idea. Haven't put too much into this, but I wanted to put it out there. Here is the article. Like I said, it's from Seeking Alpha. AMC Entertainment possibly poised for a blockbuster earnings report. A couple things to highlight. Top 10 films are blowing out expectations. Now, we've watched Top Gun, Jurassic Park, Doctor Strange, only to name a few that every single time, okay, of their first weekend, their first 2 weekends, the next Monday we're seeing, okay, these, box office numbers come out saying it's just blowout after blowout after blowout, done very, very well. Seeking Alpha data shows 605% revenue growth and a 61% earnings per share growth year over year. I also do wonder, now that they've paid off some of their debt, 72.5 million now, while it's still a good chunk, how numbers are going to look, how that bottom line is going to look, as well as having to pay less interest. Where is their guidance going to change? Okay, where is their profit, percentage going to change going forward? All right, lastly, technical analysis exhibits a pattern where the shares are poised to rally significantly. I do think we got a little bit robbed on that weekly candle. Okay, however, I talk about former runner all the time. Now, 48% industry revenues, 48%, up 48% year over year, compared to a negative 6.7% per year since 2017. Obviously, the COVID shutdowns just completely crushed them, but seeing that people that continuously want to go back to the movies is good. Now, things might change, their outlook might change, because clearly you've watched other big companies and you've heard me talk about, the possibility of a recession, the slowdown, layoffs, less disposable income could change some of the guidance going forward when it comes to that top line number. My eyes are going to be really focused on the bottom line number. Remember, everything less spent on interest means a higher bottom revenue number. Now, also talks about the GameStop, like short squeeze, some of the numbers, okay, some of the short percentages and so forth, obviously goes into risks. Very, very unbiased. Now, overall, Seeking Alpha's internal ratings have AMC's revenue growth as an A+. Its earnings rating is also an A+. Also, I didn't highlight this earlier, right here, stock rated as a strong buy. If you look at this chart over a longer time frame, this is GameStop, let me go back. Over a much longer time frame, you've watched the base. Okay, now, yes, of course, where AMC stood from a fundamental standpoint, okay, giving it an A+ rating at $60 before they even knew or had proof, okay, and that AMC was going to be able to pay off their debt, that people were going to start going back to the movies. Completely understandable from a 100% fundamental standpoint. Watching where it's basing here, as the company is, doing great things when it comes to revenue, business models, changes, okay, getting rid of some of the bad debt and so forth. Absolutely phenomenal. And why it can be rated as this, completely agree with it. Goes into their reasoning behind it, their conclusion. Very, very unbiased article. Also says we expect to have an upside that could reach $30 overhead resistance. That's a completely technical standpoint, because it is going to try to, naturally charts do want to try to test that resistance level again, which we did get robbed at that $34 range. So guys, that is it for this video. See you in the next one.